September 6th, Henry's wife and his 2 kids head out to California to visit with some family, leaving Henry alone. Henry decides, you know what, I don't get a chance to go out very much because I'm working all the time, I got family, and so tonight I'm gonna cut loose. So he calls his 2 very close friends and they decide to go to a nightclub. They get to the nightclub and Henry very quickly starts drinking a lot of, and lots of people that were at the club would say he seemed pretty intoxicated. The trio would stay at the nightclub till about 2 in the morning, and then when they left, Henry, who had driven there and met his 2 friends at the club, was about to drive himself home when one of his 2 friends said, wait a minute, you can't be driving, we'll give you a ride home. So Henry gets in the car with them and they start driving to Henry's house, but when they're about halfway there, Henry tells them to go to a very specific gas station. But the gas station he was trying to go to was 2 miles in the opposite direction away from his house. And his friends are telling him, you know, we can bring you to a closer gas station. We can bring you somewhere that's more convenient. But Henry was really aggressive and very adamant that that was the gas station he wanted to go to. And in fact, I don't even want you to wait for me. I want you to drop me off. I will get whatever I want and then I'll walk home. And his friends put up a bit of a fight, but ultimately they relented and they drove him to this gas station. They dropped him off, they watched him go inside, and they turned around and they left. At 2:28 in the morning, Henry's wife, Corrine, looked at her phone and she saw she had a missed call and a voicemail from Henry. She opens it up and she listens to it and she's horrified at what she hears. On the voicemail, Henry sounds incredibly distressed. He's yelling that he's been shot and it sounds like he's in pain. And then in the background, you hear this really intense growling sound. It's pretty easy to distinguish. And then Henry starts screaming about whatever is growling at him. And then Henry yells out, stop it, before the phone cuts out. The full 2-minute voicemail has never been released by police. This is what was made publicly available. Right after Corrine listens to this voicemail, she tries calling Henry, and it goes straight to voicemail. So she tries calling Henry's brother, she can't get in touch with him, so she calls the police. So the police go out looking for Henry, they go to his house, he's not there, and then they track down the 2 friends he was with, who immediately tell them, hey, we dropped him off at this gas station. We know it's a little bit strange that he wanted to go here, but he was insistent, and so that's where we dropped him off. So the police look around the gas station, they talk to the attendant, they talk to some people that were there, and no one knows where Henry is. So at this point, the police pull Henry's phone records, and they can see he placed a call to his wife at about 2:23 in the morning, but they can't determine where he was when he placed this call. The assumption is he was at the gas station. Then, just a few minutes later, he places another call to his brother, and his brother would report to police that all Henry was doing on the call was just sobbing. And again, with that phone call, the police were not able to pinpoint where Henry was when he made the call. And following that call to his brother, he turned his phone off. Several hours later, his phone would turn back on and it would ping about 4 miles away from this gas station, and then his phone would turn off again. And the police are thinking, you know what, it's a grown man, he went out drinking with his friends, he's bound to sober up and turn up at some point, let's just wait this one out. But Henry didn't turn up. And days turned into weeks, turned into months, and no one's heard from Henry. No one has any idea where he is. On November 2nd, so 2 months after Henry goes missing, his body is found in a lake up near the area where his cell phone had last pinged. This area is a very difficult area to access. There's no public access to this lake, and the lake sits in a very heavily forested area. Even though Henry had told his wife on the voicemail that he had been shot, and it sounds like he's being attacked on the voicemail, there were no injuries to his body. And so even though the case was bizarre to everybody involved, they ruled it an accidental drowning. Some say he took his own life because he had recently bounced a check for his rent and he had a bad performance review at work. Others say he was just intoxicated and stumbled into the lake and drowned. But neither of those explanations account for the very obvious growling and strange sounds that we heard on his voicemail.